Hi, this is Megan Miller with Restoration Range. Today I want to talk about filling in the gaps. Our minds are incredibly gifted at seeing pieces of a puzzle and filling in the rest of the story or the picture. And this can be very healthy and helpful to us when we're problem solving, trying to find a way forward with different pieces that do need to work together. And it can also get in our way. We can have experiences with people and maybe one off character or out of character, I should say, experience, and our mind can start making up a story about how unloved we are or how this person has ill feelings towards us. And while we do have to pay attention to patterns of interactions in our relationships, and there are relationships that are certainly healthy for us and good, there's also times when I might be just having a bad day and something comes out wrong. And in that, I can really hurt another person, or we can flip that around and they can really hurt us. And trying to find a way forward and not get stuck in our brain's capacity to fill in the gaps in really negative ways in those situations can be a very hard thing. And what I want to challenge us with a little bit today is that as you fill in the gaps, how do you center in some of your own life-giving practices in those times? If we're really wrestling in relationship or we're really wrestling with circumstances, how do we, instead of just go over and over and over in our brains about what is happening and assuming what is going on for another person, how do we, first of all, slow down and use practices that can center us, that can take us away from that kind of treadmill of thoughts that go around and around in our brain? And how do we seek our own internal peace? And then how do we find a way forward from there? How do we maybe connect with a person? How do we pray for a person that we're having a hard time with? How do we fact check at times or give some grace for ourselves and seek reconciliation in these situations instead of filling in the pieces of the puzzle in very harsh ways? And while some of these times when we check in, we can receive just a very different picture than what we had built up in our mind, there may be other times when we reach out and there's just too much pain and there's too much heartache, and we have to move forward in ways that are still hard, and we are pressed in to kind of then go to this place of how do we do our part to make things right, and how do we center our identity in our belovedness, in again, this balance of how do I make things right, how do I seek reconciliation, but how do I also step back, soak in truth for my life and the life of another. So today, if you are filling in the picture in ways that can feel harsh and difficult, or you have an interaction in one circumstance that is just really weighing on your heart, how do you lift that up in prayer? How do you seek discernment about how do I be honest with myself? How do I seek understanding about my part in this? And how do I also offer an opportunity for reconciliation and also just care for myself well? And sometimes we can do this process on our own, and sometimes we need wise counsel to walk with us. So that perhaps just looks like a supportive friend who isn't afraid to share the good and the hard in our lives and challenge us, but also help us to love well. Other times we might seek out professional helping relationships to wade through things that are so emotional because our brain gets hijacked, and it's hard for our brain to soak in some of the good things in those times when our brain is responding out of a lot of fear or a lot of pain, and we just need safe places to process that. So today, I want to challenge you. How are you filling in the picture? How are you filling in those gaps of what you don't know? And are there ways that you need to seek reconciliation? Are there ways that you need to seek wise counsel? And how can you rest in your belovedness as you find a healing way forward? I pray that you are blessed in awesome ways as you take on this challenge that can be a difficult one. So take care, all.